Welcome to the Seer Show. Join us as we dive into the dynamic world of health, wellness, mindset, and fitness with the unparalleled guidance of lifelong knowledge seekers, Sifu Rafael and Nikki Gangemi. Sifu and Nikki will unlock groundbreaking insights with extraordinary guests from around the globe. You'll get the latest holistic approaches to well-being with a sharp focus on the powerful connection between mind, body, and soul. Get ready to take the leap. It's time to embrace a brighter and healthier future with us at the Seer Show.
5, 4,
Richard, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the Seer Show. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, Sifu. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to this.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure. So this is my first show with Nikki, and she's having technical difficulties. So I'm hoping that she will come back on, and I think she's coming on, and there she is. What? Finally, she had to go on the phone. We got technical difficulties. Nothing to worry about. Thank you, Nikki. This is our first show together, and look, things don't always go exactly the way as planned, but guess what? We keep going.
Exactly. Find a way.
There's always a way, right? So
Yes.
today we have an amazing guest. He's been on my other shows, and he's going to come on my other shows as well. But Richard, wow, you, my friend, I'm enjoying the fact that you and I are getting to know each other even more. But you are a powerhouse. And today we want to talk about strategic success and then the transformative growth that we can have through that. So we would love to get your insights on a little bit of that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I'm excited to be here and just contribute. So, and remember, I'll contribute to the first part, Nikki. No battle plan ever survives the first shot.
I love that.
Just remember that. So that's every day. So yeah, I'm excited to just share and let's get into it. I love it.
So what is strategic success if we're looking at it from someone who's just maybe going from a 9 to 5 and they say, finally, I've been thinking about this, I've been planning it, and now I want to have this success because I'm going on my own. It may be very scary for some people. It may be very exciting, but will they have success without true planning?
Yeah. Well, first you have to define what success means to you individually. Okay. Because there's a whole lot of different definitions for people. People have different, I call them scorecards, right? And what success is. I'm not saying there's one that's not right. They all have their merit, but you really have to define what it is for you. So if you're going from a corporate job, a 9 to 5, and you're going to branch on your own, buckle up. That's what I'm going to tell you. Buckle up, because you're going to get punched in the face a few times. Okay. And that's just part of what it is, right? Startups they're challenging. 97% of all new businesses fail within the first 5 years. Mm-hmm. So as I always tell people, you got a better chance of becoming a Navy SEAL because they only fail 90%. Okay. They're making the business, but it doesn't mean you're not going to make it, but you need to understand what you're up against. And then you'll be okay. There's another thing I teach too. I tell people, also remember this in the beginning, ignorance on fire is going to get you a lot of places. Okay. Don't think you have to know everything. Don't keep getting ready to get ready. Don't overthink. Don't overplan. Imperfect action is where you want to go. Do it, adapt. Do it, adapt. Improve. Get back on course. Follow the line. But you've got to do that. Okay. There's a lot of other things to begin with, but the apprehension and the fear of risk is what holds most people back. they got all this neat stuff and they're doing it and they've taken 1 million courses and they feel like they've learned all the stuff about marketing and doing this and that and everything else, and they never do anything. It's like having that shelf full of books that you read and never applied one thing from them, right? So don't get stuck in that. Don't be afraid to move forward. That's the beginning.
Yeah. And that's that action paralysis, I guess, right? People fear because they're like, what if I fail? What if? But what if you succeed?
Well, on that, action alleviates anxiety. Okay, so people, to me, this is what I feel causes anxiety. It's an inability to make a decision. So think about that for a second. When you can't decide, okay, of course you're going to have anxiety, right? You're sitting there and you don't know, should I go left? Should I go right, straight? What's going to happen? Oh, this could happen. Just go. Just go. Just take the step and that anxiety will go away. It's a powerful tool.
Yeah. I'm sure that Nikki, she did not expect her camera not to work today.
No,
but
I didn't, especially because it worked 2 weeks ago when we had our conversation.
So when you consider even just a perfect example is what happened to Nikki, but she did not allow that to stop her, because she could have said, hey, you know what, Sifu Rafael, I can't get on today. But she found a way. Right? And I think that's success, right? When you find a way, when all things are against you, I think that's what that's the success that we can look for. What's the end result with it, right? So Nikki found her end result. She's here. She's with us. Nikki, how frustrating was that? Or did you just say, no big deal, I got this?
Well, luckily, this issue has happened before where the camera worked and then it decided not to work. So I knew I could use my phone. And the phone is always near us, right? So, yeah. So I knew I would find a way. I knew that this was a possibility, and it happened. So, have a backup, right? Have a backup plan.
Yeah. I think that's strategic success right there, because a lot of times when imagine the kid who's having the ice cream cone and they're licking it, they overlick and it falls over and they just have the cone and they're like, oh, they start crying. But what does mom and dad do? Right? So that's the thing is, do you let that kid get crazy and slam the cone down and not know what to do, or just calm them down and say, hey, guess what? Let's get another one. We can put another scoop on there for you, right? Hopefully it happened while you're still at the store or at home or whatever, but not like, 10 minutes out of the way. And then you're like, oh, we don't have time, right? So sometimes we have to plan for things. One of the things that I've been seeing a lot, I've been binge watching Shark Tank, believe it or not, just because I'm limited on my time and it's not there's no commercials. So I'm watching. It's pretty cool. And there's so many people who go on this show without realizing that they're too early. So sometimes you're too early for something and you're asking for something when you're not ready to receive it, right?
Yeah, I think that's really true. What you find with startups, again, people have an idea, they go, they make some sales and they think we're on the road to success. Right now, sales are critical for any business to survive, right? Businesses really fail because they don't sell enough product at a high enough price. That's the reason they all fail. But on the flip side, you're selling, but your business isn't together. You're the ice cream man. He's got one cart and he's selling it to kids and he's hoping they knock their ice cream off so he can sell another one, right? That's his battle plan, okay? And that's how it works, okay? Well, he's not going to do really well. Okay, hoping that. All right. So what they haven't done is they haven't built the business itself. Again, making money is the easiest thing you can do in business. Everything else is what's difficult. And these sharks, they understand that, right? So they're not looking at just, did you sell stuff? Because they always go, oh, you sold 700,000. They go, oh, right. And they're kind of, that's shocking. That's really good. And then they ask the next question, right? And they go into, well, how are you evaluating this at $3.5 million worth of gross, this, and they walk them through that process and they can't give them an answer. because they feel they're valuable, and we all have. Well, there's two ways. When you have a business, you feel it's worth a ton of money because it's yours, right? It's your child. I tell people, my child is worth way more than your child. Okay, because it's my child. Okay, they feel the same way about their business. Okay, and then you got to go, well, let's talk a little reality. You don't have this. You're missing this. All you have is a bunch of depreciating assets. You really have nothing I can grow with. So that's the reality. And all of a sudden you went, I want 3 million. Now you're going to get 300,000, right? That's the reality that sets in. And that's what they learn in Shark Tank. They find out but they have the energy. They're going, but they're not ready. Just like you said, Sifu.
Yeah. A lot of times, especially on that show, they'll come in with 0 sales, but they have a dream. And they're like, well, you can't put value on your dream. It's great to have the dream, but you actually have to have proof of concept, right? So I think strategic success is when you actually can prove what your action is based on. For example, if I want to have 100 members, but I only have, like, my cousin is a member, that's it. That doesn't work, right? So if I want to sell this company and I say, let's say the value is 100 members equals $10 million, then yeah, if I only have 1 member, then that's not equaling what I want for the company. You're right. So when we think about success, and I love what you said, that it's based on perception. Everybody's perception is different, because success to someone can be just having a place to sleep tonight, having the next meal. That could be success. To a child, success is way different than it is to somebody who has to pay their mortgage. They have to pay all their bills and all these different things. And so sometimes we forget exactly that someone else's success does not necessarily equate to your success. Would you mind expanding on that, either one of you?
You got the floor, Nikki.
Oh, thank you, Richard. Well, I was just thinking that like what you had said earlier, it's really important to define what success is to you. I know I've done this myself, so I'm sure others have, or we have taken other people's definition of success and have lived by that. And it wasn't a good fit. So I think questioning everything that you're told and hanging around with people that fuel you and that inspire you. Richard, you're the first person that I've ever heard that making money in business is the easiest thing to do. First time I'm hearing that, and I love it, and I love how it feels. So this is why, it's having conversations with different people and hanging around those people who you really vibe with what they're saying, and it helps you to grow and expand versus diminish and constrict.
And I think, Nikki, right on that point, if you're new and you're going to make that jump from your 9 to 5 to a business, get around people who have already been there where you want to go. Just rub elbows, listen to conversations. You don't even have to say anything. Get to the conference, right? Now, I talked about just learning and not doing, but now you're going, okay, who can, and I'll call it a mentor, right? Who can give me like solid advice? Like you just said, hey, I've never heard that before. Well, that's because I've been doing this for 35 years and I've proven it again and again and again. It's the easiest thing to do. So I can say that. Other people are telling you it's not, and they've never run a business. So it's like, well, I don't really have the social proof there on your end, but this guy, he's kind of done a few things, so it's okay. So that's really important. I think when we talk about the strategic aspect too, strategy is looking at the whole board, right? So if a chessboard, you're looking at every move. You're 5 moves ahead. You're 6 moves ahead, that kind of thing. And strategic success is really starting with a general plan. Again, you don't have to be super detailed, but you need to be able to follow it and be persistent and have, grit, right? That perseverance, because you're going to run into so many roadblocks. And go back to those mentors, those people you can be around, even once a month, twice a month. A lot of times I advise people, build a board of advisors. Respected, trusted friends or people acquaintances who have, again, done what you've done, or in some realm in business. So it doesn't have to be your business. And they're going to be able to give you just that little nugget. And it's going to be an eye opener, because you're so into the day-to-day trying to make this thing go and get off the ground, get it off the launch pad, you can't see everything else. You can't see the whole chessboard. You see your pawn and a rook that's in front of you, and that's all you got, right? You can't see all the other pieces because we're not able to function that way. You need outside eyes to help guide you. So it's a big plus.
I totally agree with that. Nick, if you want to say something, go for it. And then
I was actually just going to say, when I heard you say you need outside eyes, it reminded me that we can't read the label from inside of the jar. We need that mentor or that support system that can see things that we can't see and bring it to our awareness so that we can make change.
I am stealing that. Can't read the label from
not
inside
mine.
the jar. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm taking it anyways. So whoever I'm stealing it from, thanks so much.
It's interesting when we talk about labels because a lot of people read your label, but meanwhile, they may not know what's in the label of my shirt, right? Maybe they can see the front or whatever, but a lot of times people judge you because of the labels that you portray. So you can't see your own labels, but which are the ones that you want people to look at? Is your facade so fake that it's almost like you go to sleep as a different person than the same person that's going to be in the middle of the day? So when we talk about labels, man, they really define a person, because how worrisome are you if you lie? Because then the lies become bigger lies, and then bigger lies, and then bigger lies, and then you forget where the lie is and the truth is. So for me, it's always about be honest with yourself first. So that's the first label I think we have to attach to ourselves. Being truthful to who we are is going to define us, right? If you're poor, you're poor. But that doesn't mean you have to be defined as poor. You can say, I may be poor. Maybe I can't afford that house, or I can't afford that car. But I should be grateful for what I have now. Well, Dr. Oliver T. Reed was on before, and he gave us a thumbs up. But he recently had a talk where he talked about you are who you are now, not who you think you're going to become, because who you're going to become, you're it now. So don't wait to become it. You're it now. I love that. And he probably said it way better than I just said it. But who are you, and what defines you, and what defines your success should not be what anyone else defines your success. You have to define it, right? And one of the things that you talked about, Richard, about it's easy to make money as an entrepreneur, 1,000%. But if you're going to lose money if you don't have a game plan. You need that game plan. Right now, Nikki's part of it. She's going to be one of the instructors on the platform I'm creating, and it's going to be speaking prowess. And that right there, it's about teaching communication skills to other people. The words we use define who we think we are, right? So success is what you make of it. But first, you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, I think, when we talk authenticity, the thing I learned is you need to be the same person in public as you are in private. If you can do that, if you can create that, that's authenticity. I've heard authenticity people speak, and they're not authentic. They're talking about it, but it's like, well, you're not that person. Like if you knew them, it's like if my kids heard me say this, would they agree? Would they say yes? Or would they go, well, you don't do that at home, Dad. So why are you talking like that on there? I'm confused. Okay. So that should be your goal, and I love authenticity because now I will ruffle some feathers. I'll rub some people the wrong way when I'm working with a business. I will tell them, okay, get rid of them, and them. Okay. Get rid of those people ASAP. Okay. Then we're going to move in this direction because I have to right the ship. Right. That's what I'm there for. So I can't be afraid to tell them, again, outside eyes, on what to actually do. Now, whether they take my advice, that's up to them, but usually they hesitate. And then 3 weeks later, they realize they should have done it 3 weeks ago. because now they're just 3 weeks down the road in the same position, and it all works. But it's being authentic. I'm not afraid to do what I have to do, and I'll do the same thing with my kids as I'll do with a business owner, right? So I try to be that. I'm not perfect by any means, but that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Nikki, so I want to thank you for accepting the role as co-host on this show, but I don't want you to think co-host is a small part, because your role here is just as equal as mine, right? So I want you to remember that.
I love the label you just gave that. You relate co-host.
But I don't want you to, that's not a label that I want to attach to you. It's just the way we're doing it. So think about your voice here is as important as mine, as important as Richard's. But I want everybody coming on our shows to understand that when you're on a show like this, right? If your voice doesn't mean anything, then don't go on the show. Your time is worth more, right? So this goes for anybody, whether you come on my show or you go on anybody else's show, whether you come on with Nikki and I or you go on somebody else's show. If they don't value you, you're on the wrong show. You're on the wrong show. I value Richard so much. I mean, this is the second show he's coming on. I think he's coming on some of the other shows. But when he's on here, look, I'm promoting him, right? Because, and Richard, I want you to plug yourself in for a little bit, because what you do is phenomenal. And I want to share with people that you have such value that you bring to the show. And I want to thank you for that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love what I do, because what I do, because people are probably wondering, you've been on for like 15 minutes and you haven't even said what you do. So I coach businesses, right? And my big movement is I'm helping 10,000 business owners create freedom, profit, and impact in their business. That's the simplest way I can say it, because most people are what I call stuck in the owner prison, right? So my best-selling book is Escape the Owner Prison, and it teaches guys who get into business. And again, that first 2 years we talked about in the beginning, how hard it is, and you're going to work a lot. I have not found a way not to work extremely hard your first 2 years in business. So just accept it. Let's get moving. But after that, right, what happens is all of a sudden you're in business 10 years and you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times. And that's why you don't grow. That's why you're not making more. And you're going every day and you're unlocking the door so you can do business and let everybody in. At night, you lock the door after they leave. You are a prisoner. You serve the business. It does not serve you. So what I do is come in and show them the way to escape that, how to get the business to run itself, right? To get the right people in place, to do that, give you back that freedom. And when you do that method, all your profits go up, and profit is what matters. Not gross revenue. You can make $10 million a year, but you're only bringing home 100,000. It's broken. That's not very rewarding. And I have clients that's happened to, right? So we want the profit as well, but then the impact is another thing. What are you able to do now that your business runs itself? You're working on what we call the 5%. That's the 5% of the business only you can do as a founder, a visionary, right? Growth strategy, big strategies, bringing in the big clients. That's what you want to be focused on. Now you can go, well, what can I be doing with this new profit? What can I be doing for the people that work with me and for me? How can I elevate them as people and make them better so they take that to their families, that then take that into the community? Now, instead of helping 10,000 business owners, I'm actually affecting millions of people by doing that, because I'm showing them how to do that. It's way more rewarding. Everything's based on vision. It's a vision-driven business. Everyone's focused on purpose, not money. So money's the third most important thing to any employee, right? First is purpose, and then it's quality feedback, recognition. That's what they want. Then is money. Now, don't get me wrong. They still want to be paid well. They want money, but that's not their main driver. And once you're able to embrace that, you can build a culture in your company, because people always talk about company culture, but they can't tell you what it is or how to do it. Right? Well, I do. And I show you how that happens. So that's really what I do in a large nutshell.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Good.
And do you focus on startups, Richard? Is that what I heard you say?
No, I do not work with startups, but I do not. I have a 16-week online course you can take. And I'm going to be positive, when you complete the course, you'll have increased your chance of success exponentially, because it's very detailed. It's a lot of work. And I just suggest, even if you're, again, looking to start, do something like that. Take it, because if you complete it, when you complete it, you'll go, okay, or you're going to realize I'm not doing this.
Too much work.
And you're going to save a lot of time and aggravation and money by learning early on, maybe this isn't for you, because it isn't for everybody. But if it is, that'll make the difference.
I love it. Thank you for clarifying that.
Just because one thing real quick, in business, you're going to get scars, you're going to get punched. Okay. And that's just how it is. So you can't appreciate the value of what I do until you have some of that. Right. Because you can, and if I give you things or whatever it is, they just don't have the value. And we've all been there. We've all started something, right? We do that. That's why Sifu values you, Nikki, because he knows you've got the scars, right? You've done stuff. You're accomplished. So there's a reason for that, right? You didn't decide yesterday you want to be a speaking prowess person, then you're going to jump on this thing and then start it, right? So that's the comparison. That's the best analogy I got here.
It's a good one.
Yeah. When you consider all the things that we can do in life, a lot of times we don't plan. And when you don't plan, you might as well just fail, because that's everything right there. So considering everything that you're talking about, and when you talked about you don't work with startups, but you do, right? You said, no, I don't, but I do, because here's the thing, with startups, there's so many things that they're not willing to do. They don't understand. There's so much. I mean, for example, Speaking Prowess is a startup, right? But this is not something I just thought of 3 weeks ago and said, I'm going to start it. This is something that's been in my mind forever, literally. I mean, since I was a kid. Communication is everything. But when I said, okay, now is the time. Now, I did my due diligence. I didn't just say, okay, we're opening up tomorrow. No. I mean, I've already set up the place. I have courses going on. I have instructors coming on. Everything has to fall in place. And I'm not going to open the doors. Actually, I'm opening the doors this Saturday, but I'm not opening the doors until everything fell in place. So a lot of people, they will spend millions of dollars on a concept, yet they don't know if anybody wants it. Right. And that's where people fail as a business, because so many times, good morning, Mandy, thank you for joining us. So many people fail because they think it's a great idea. They fall in love with their idea, yet they never asked, hey, you think somebody else might like this? Do you think somebody else would do it? There's a couple of books out there that you can probably read on how to get your idea out there before you spend money on it, right? Because, Richard, I want to sell you this thing, right? And you think it's great, right? It's a paper towel. But I also want to sell you this one, and I want to sell you this, and and all of a sudden, it's convoluted. It's all over the place. Meanwhile, there's no structure on anything that I'm trying to do. So I think when we talk about strategic success, I think we have to do the research, the fact-finding. Does anybody else want it besides me? Does anybody else see the vision? And the people who are going to lie to you the most are the ones that love you, because they're going to say to you, great product, I love it, go for it. Okay, I'm selling this for $300. Being that you love me, if I give you this, will you give me $300? They're like, well, I got to think about it. There's, I got this other bill coming up. All of a sudden, they don't believe it. So that's where the real research has to start with, will they buy it? Or will they go, oh my God, I can't believe you're only selling it for $300. I'd be willing to give you $500 for it. Great. Would you give me the $300 now? Yeah, sure. Here you go. You get many of those, and then what happens? Then you know it's going to happen. Now let's really bring it out. Let's spend some money getting it out to the market.
Yeah,
And I know you
viability
talk
is
more about that.
yeah, viability is really important. You really do have to understand it. You have to test it. You got to make your prototypes. You're going to spend money. You're going to create something, right? You have to do all that first, and nobody sees that work. Okay, and that could be years of design tests. It's got to maybe how does it weather if it's an outdoor product? What does this look like in a year? What does it look like in 2 years? What does it look like in 5 years? Who knows? But like we have to test all this stuff and bring this to market. Test the market. Do your market research. Talk to people. I do it with simple marketing stuff for people. They want to design their logo, right? And something like that. Well, I want to have my logo. I'm like, okay, well, print out your logo and put it on like a big card, like, I don't know, 12 by 12, and literally walk up to a stranger. Okay. Just like, hey, take a look at this, hold it up, put it down. What did it say? What does that mean to you? And if they can't nail that in 2 seconds, go back and keep working. Because so many people create these things. I actually take a lot of pictures of different vehicles with their wraps and their stuff. And I'm like, it's like, I don't even know what it says. Like they're putting all their stuff in cursive. Okay. Now I'm old enough to know cursive really well, but I don't advertise in cursive. Okay. And so, but you see that, and then it's all their name, not what they do. The whole half the van is their name. I'm like, okay, we got an ego issue here, because what I need is my septic taken care of. I don't need your name. Do you do septic systems? That's what I need to know. So, yeah, you could be the greatest septic guy around, but you're not telling me that on the van, right? And how to get you. So again, little things like that is those are the humps and bumps. Those are the scars you're going to get. But you need to do that due diligence throughout your research, and you got to stay with it.
That's right. And we need to do all of this. So, knowledge when put to use is power. So we have to have the knowledge, we have to have the awareness, and then put it to use. So this is a great conversation to be having.
Yeah, practical application is what it's really about. If you can't apply what you're learning, throw it out. Just throw it out. It's not part of your business. Maybe it works for someone else, but it has to work for you because you're the driver. I don't know who it was, but they commented about how to keep your energy levels up. And people talk about it, you get as a startup, because here's what, and I'll give you a quickie on this one. It's easy. It's not really easy, but people talk about passion. If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, that's not really true. Okay. You'll probably work twice as hard. You're going to work a lot. But the thing about your energy levels is you have to understand what you're doing. And this will get into delegation and everything else. Like if I talk business and you give me problems and I can solve problems, we can do that like 23 hours a day. I won't slow down. And I'll love every minute of it because that's what energizes me. I have other people, really good, successful entrepreneurs, will never coach anybody because it's a drain. It just sucks the life out of them, right? All that kind of stuff. So everyone's different. So what you want to do in your business, and if you're a startup, is find what really gets you energized. And what doesn't, you need to work as fast as possible to get that delegated to a different person on the team. So you don't have to do that. That's how you maintain your energy levels. Yes, there's nutrition and fitness and all that stuff that we do. That's also part of it. But from a work standpoint, that's what you're looking to get to.
Yeah, great answer.
One of the things that we've been talking about is strategic success, and it wrapped up in all of that thing. We haven't really said it, but it's transformative growth, because it is that thought pattern that we have to go through in order to make something happen, right? So that transformation from working a 9 to 5 to now working from 6 to 12, right? And I'm not talking 6 a.m. to 12
p.m.
I'm talking, right? Not right, a.m. to a.m. almost. So think about the way we have to transform our mind to, wow, we're getting great responses here. So I'm the only team member wearing different hats, but I appreciate the comments, Richard. So, and here's a bigger one. Well, I'm not going to go into reading it, but we can all take a look at it later. So when we transform from what we are doing to what we want to accomplish, that has to be a total shift, because we can't do the same things we were doing when we were working for someone else. right? When we start the entrepreneurial battle, if you will, right? Because I love your war room, right, Richard? And I know that Dr. Andrea said it was it was your raw room, right? Or more raw, right? When we consider how we adapt, we can't come with the same skills. We actually have to create new skills. We have to change our mindset for that growth that we're looking for that transformative growth. What are your thoughts on it? And I know we're going over, it's supposed to be 35 minutes, but we'll take it another 5 minutes or so if that's okay with you guys.
I love it. I think you're exactly right. The thing about entrepreneurship is it's continuous learning. And you're not, and we all know that comfort kills. When you get comfortable in business, when you get comfortable, things are over. Okay, because there is no maintenance. You're going forward or backwards, right? The only way to go forward is to continue to learn and adapt. Apply the knowledge, put it in, move forward, innovate. Innovation is a huge part of entrepreneurship. If you're able to innovate, and I'm even talking the simplest things. It could be the way you do your accounting. You can innovate a new way to do that, right? Things like that. So you're always on that. We go back to that 5%, trying to be on your 5%. Now you're able to innovate because you have the bandwidth to do that now. You're not in the day-to-day. Now you can start seeing bigger pictures. You can start to innovate. And you also can take a little more risk to try things that may fail. And that's okay. When it's just you, it's difficult to do because that one big failure could be your last failure, right? You think it isn't. You can always keep it along. I tell you, if you're breathing, you're in the fight. That's all you got to know. If you can take your next breath, you still got a chance for victory.
That's awesome. I love that. If you're breathing, you're still in the fight. So good.
Well, a lot of people are. I knew a woman who was making $10 million a year. She was broke. $10 million a year, and she was broke. And the anxiety was coming in. Everything was coming in because she did not put her thumb on her business. And when you think about the thumb, no, I want both hands on my business. I don't want just my thumb, right? She thought she had the thumb. I said, no, you got to strangle that thing. You got to have control of it because you're making 10 million. How on earth are you not enjoying it? She has anxiety. She couldn't sleep, all these different things. So I helped her come out of that pattern of self-sabotage, of giving it away to everybody. And it's a lot of it stems from what we believe we're worth, right? So she never believed she was worth $10 million a year, right? After she got over that, she's making way more than 10 million. Guess what? She's happy. She's no longer broke. But we have to take that mindset for that growth because, yeah, we can make all this money, but what's happening, right? And I know that you can help with that as well, Richard.
Yeah, you're very right. The value, what I tell almost every business owner, whatever they're charging for their services is probably not enough because we never value ourselves enough. And I got creds. Okay, I've been doing this for a really long time, trying business, I do all this stuff, and I will still say, yeah, people are like, well, you should charge more. You don't charge enough. In my water feature business for 20 years, not one customer over 1,000 of the things I built, over 1,000, no one ever said you charge too much. You know what they said? You need to charge more. Coincidentally, it was right after I finished their project, not before we started. So they didn't have to pay me more, which is, I'm just joking about that. But it really is that we don't value that, right? We don't understand. My father went and he kind of saw what I charge. He builds, and he's in the golf course business. They pay you that much? I go, yeah, Dad, they can't do it. They can't do what I do. Okay, this looks like it was here before the house, this water feature, right? They love it. Now they could buy every piece of equipment I have, and I want people with a stroke of a check, right? Just write it out, but they can't use it. They don't know what to do with it. So there's a value, right? And they attach a value to not only what I can do, but the end result. the enjoyment, fulfillment, the peace, and everything else. So you really need to understand the value that you hold. And at the same time, it's going to cross into how you charge and how you present your product or service. It's driving value. It's always giving more value than you're being paid for. You always want to be on that end. I always want to give more value than I'm being paid for. But at the same time, how do you express that value? How do you share that value with a potential customer or client so they say, oh, yeah, that's it? Okay, let's start tomorrow. Okay, just like you're saying, let me buy that $300 thing right now. How do you do that? So that's the challenge in business, especially in the startup.
Yeah, it's. I just finished a project for somebody. I own a wood shop as well. I only opened the wood shop when somebody requested. I had 0 advertisements, right? And people see my work and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we want your work." So when I went out, they actually called me and they said, "Hey, we just want your opinion." I'm like, "Sure, I'll give you an opinion." They're like, on a phone call, you didn't even see the job. You gave me more details about what needs to be done than the people who actually came in person. They're like, "Would you do it?" I said, "Do what?" "The job." I said, "Well, you know I'm not cheap, right?" "Yeah, we know." I said, "You sure you want it?" "Yeah." I said, so I did it. Afterwards, they're like, "It's amazing. We have other projects we want you to take care of."
Right.
I'm like, "Well, I have to see if I have the time, but sure, we can talk about it." But it's when you know your value. And when somebody says to me, "Wow, you charge a lot," I said, "Actually, I don't." I said, "I'm giving you a deal." Because
If they only knew what went
think
into
of it
this.
this way: if I only had 18 hours left to live, how much would I charge for my time? That's how I value my worth. Do I want to waste my time, doing something for what everybody else charges? If I don't know what to do, yeah. If I'm not an expert, yes. And the word expert is very vague because I've met so many experts who know nothing. So for me, it's always about the value that I can give you, that when I walk away, you go, "Holy cow, he left this." And just the way you've been, asked to do certain projects yourself, Richard, because you told us about them. People don't know what they don't know yet. And you talked about the tools, right? Because the other guys that were going to do the project, they had the same exact tools I have. The tools are not different. It's the quality. It's the quality that makes a difference. It's the vision that we have that can make it better for someone else. So I appreciate that you said that earlier.
Yeah, it's that great saying, this one from the martial arts. It's not the sword, it's the swordsman. Okay. Like I'm a Marine, right? So it's not the rifle, it's
Thank
the
you
Marine.
for your service, by the way.
But thank you, welcome. But it's the man behind the rifle, right? We are that, right? No finer friend, no fiercer enemy. That's the U.S. Marine, right? It's nothing to do with our weapons. We get all the garbage. We get the worst weapons. We get the least amount of stuff to work with. Yeah, we're the elite fighting force of the world because it's the person. So you got to grab a hold of that so you can do it. And that's why our tagline's honing entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business, right? That's what Sharpen the Spear is about, because it's battle. It is war. It's something you have to approach every single day, right? You got to get in there. You got to keep your tools sharp, right? You're a woodworker. You don't use dull tools. I don't think a dull knife cuts his skin, right? That's the only thing it does. So you know that like tools are important, right? But in the hands of an expert, they're deadly in a good way. You can do things that no one else can do because of your own skills.
Well, this has been very informative. Richard, you need to come back, right? What do you think, Nick?
To the conversation.
Yeah, there's so much, you guys. I love it, man. It was just, like I said, this stuff just amps me up. It's just like working with business owners. I don't know. It gives me joy. I just love it. Pure joy. I love it. Happy to come back anytime.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back. So just book in, man. Let's do it. Nikki, so happy that your phone works.
Being flexible. I appreciate it.
Right. And as a martial artist, I appreciate everybody who's flexible because so am I. Right. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us on the Seer Show. Richard, God bless you, my friend. You're
Yeah.
amazing, and I just love getting to know you. And every time that you're here, or you're going to be here, because I think we're going to have many shows with you, you know. So thank you, Geraldine, for being here with us. Thank you, Mandy, for being here as Dr. Reed. Thank you, everyone. If I didn't mention your name, I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't tell us you were here. Hit us back, hit the hashtag replay. Let us know what you thought of the show. And guess what? Every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., not every other, we're going to be here. We're going to bring you
Yes.
some amazing, amazing shows. It's going to be the first and third Wednesday. Is that first and third?
First and third of each month. Yes.
And Nikki's going to get her camera working.
Oh, yeah. As soon as we hang up, through this.
I knew it. She's an action taker for sure.
That's what I like to hear. That's what it's all about. Just keep moving forward.
Consistent action. Yes.
All right. You guys hold on, everybody else. Have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.